we was wondering, are you willing to be a little bit more vulnerable and peel back some layers and open up?
I mean, I feel like I have been a...
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome to Little Black Button 91. We are talking to you guys about Ready to Love and giving you guys a quick... Let me not say that, because every time I say quick, it gets into trouble. Giving you guys a breakdown of what happened in episode, is it 6 or 7? It might be. Shoot, we might be on episode 8. It's episode 6. Okay, my bad. Episode 6. And we're talking about this recent episode, and I think what was interesting, there's a couple of things that were happening here, right? First of all, we had, obviously, Phil no touch with Aries. And let me just say something. People have been, we early in the season, Keyra was questioning Quentin whether he likes white women or not. Phil brought a white woman to the table. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not shooting Phil down. This is not me insulting him, but I have to get real. They shot the wrong person. It's Phil who has a white ex. What? I mean, she might have like some Latino or Hispanic or something. I don't know, but she passed white. So I was like, whoa! I was so shocked by that. And then I think also, and I don't want to go too deep just yet, I got some questions for Phil because, it makes you question it further because later on in the show, when he's talking about his connection with Aries and Catherine, you know what I mean, right? I look at the way he spoke about them. I was like, we got the wrong person. I was here shooting with Quentin, but it wasn't Quentin. It's looking like it is what? Phil. Now I know she's Hispanic, but she passes white. So when you talk about paper bag test, she would pass as white. So it's not that she's white, like European or American white, but she passes white. So in some sense of the word, I had to look at it differently. I was like, wait, hold on a minute now. Hold on a minute now. You know what I mean? Hold on a minute now. Okay. I was like, You know what I mean? I was a whoa. We might have to have a real conversation about that. All right, cool. Then obviously, then the situation obviously with we had not Phil. Then we had Chris and Jessica, and Chris's past about him being all subservient, the woman being servant. I was like, ooh, I was like, yo, okay. I was like, okay, like this is gonna be an interesting conversation because it's talking about obviously, they're talking obviously about, in some sense of word, her being soft, but at the same time, if she's gonna be soft, is he gonna take advantage because he wants to be served? And that could be a little bit of an issue, you know what I mean? That could be a little bit of an issue. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't know which one's going to win first, but I felt like Jessica and Chris, they already know. We already know that's not going to last long if they get together. Like, that ain't going to last long. That ain't going to work, etc., right? Then we had Maurier situation with... Maurier situation with Janelle and Jessica, right? About the occult stuff. Now, my thing is, why did they not have a conversation about this earlier on? Unless they did, and they're just doing this for the TV and having to show everybody again. But the reality is, I need to close my door because the washing machine is going off. But the reality of the situation is that how would they have not discussed faith and religion already and not know about the kind of spirituality that he practices? Surely that would have been a major thing for Janelle, and at least for Janelle, because she talks about the Lord and personal Savior. So it's like, that would be a major thing, right? Like they should have never got that far in the first place. Okay, all right. Let me talk about the boys mentioned ghetto love with Janelle, and I was like, the fact that the boys are kind of giving Janelle a pass is what we call pretty privileged, because old girl was out here doing, if they're saying that she does ghetto love but giving her a pass along the way, it's because she's pretty, right? So let's keep it real. Like, you know what I mean? It's because she's pretty. And then Sierra, the homeboy situation with Maurier, that was never going anywhere. We know this already, but maybe we have to have a conversation about the ex being very close to Maurier. And then Kira's funky exit. Her exit was funky. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Her exit was funky. So we're gonna talk a little bit about this in the next hour or so. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. All right, let me just I'm gonna put this little thing on because y'all say we ain't going. Is that not white? I'm just saying. Okay. I'm not saying she's the whitest of the whitest, but there's a difference, guys. Come on. Come on now. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on now. Come on. Okay. All right. Come on. I'm not saying she white, but I'm saying, come on, guys. Are you telling me that's not? Are you telling me that's not? I don't. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm not seeing things correctly. I don't know. Is that what you mean by she can't pass as white? Is that what you mean? If people are saying Meghan Markle can pass as white, you tell me that woman can't pass as white? Y'all saying, do you know what? Let me see my glass off because I can't see. I can't see. So I need to hold on. Let me look at it again because clearly I can't even see the buttons on my keyboard. Let me see. Let's just see that again. Is she white? Does she look white to me? Let me play a little bit of the clip and see.
Hey, hi.
Oh, does she look white to me? Does she look white to you? Now she might be Spanish, but I'm saying, does she look white to you? I'm just saying. I didn't say she can't have no other ethnic in her. I said that she could pass as white. I mean, am I the other one? I'm just saying. I don't know. In Louisiana, she can pass as a light black girl. I ain't been to Louisiana, so I can't comment on that. Let me talk from my British perspective. I'm just saying, from a British standpoint, even if I can see a little bit of the Spanico in you, or see a little bit of another ethnic, even if I see that you've got some Caribbean in you, which we have some people like that who are kind of like white, but they have Caribbean or their parents are slightly darker, but they can pass as white. That is what I'm saying. Am I blind? I don't know. Am I guys? Help me! I don't know. Help me, guys.
However, I'm like really nervous. Honestly, I've never.
Okay. Is she gonna get racially profiled like y'all guys? I'm just wondering. Okay, will she get racially profiled like black people? I just want to know. For those of you who are telling me she went white, will she get racially profiled the same way y'all will get racially profiled? Just want to know. I'm just asking for a friend. Just so that I can do my research, just so that I know that the police would also look at her the same way they're looking at you. I just want to know. I just want to know. You know what I mean? For those of you saying that she is, she's not white. I'm not saying she was white. I'm saying that she can pass as white. Okay. All right. So I don't know. I don't know what else to look at that as. Okay. I don't know what else a pass would look like, but that is a pass for me. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is like Sierra is light. You get what I'm saying? Like, Sierra for me is light, but this woman here, no. She white. Okay, she passes white, and that's why I'm questioning.
Met someone's ex before.
Okay,
I'm excited to know all the things.
You're so animated. I love it.
I am. I'm a little dramatic, but
That's okay. Me too.
Look how Kira's excited. She excited because she found one of her. Okay, let me not be rude. But it looked like Kira was excited because she finally felt some comfort around her. You know, so maybe I'm just saying. Kira looked, she found some comfort. Let me not be shady. I'm not trying to be shady. I'm just being real. What I saw, but it looked like Kira looked real comfortable, and in that moment, because maybe just seeing and I'm here. I'm not even shading Kira, but I'm being real. The comment that Maurier made at the very end, saying that she said that she wasn't necessarily comfortable around big black spaces. Sorry, I added big black, but added around necessarily black spaces like that. Then, I'm going to look at that a little bit differently. That's why I'm looking at it differently as when she's behaving. She probably is like that all the time. I'm just putting more extra focus just because he made that comment. But that is a white woman. Now, the question we have to have a real conversation about is, since that is a white woman, why was it that everybody questioned Quentin but didn't question Phil? That's the question we need to ask. Why is it everybody questioned Quentin I say everybody, those who are questioning somebody, why do they question Quentin and not Phil? Why is it that Keyra's, well, maybe we didn't see it. Maybe that was, maybe we didn't see it. Maybe we didn't see it, right? But why is it that, Phil didn't come into the conversation? Which is interesting, right? So, and that's the truth, Kate, because nobody really wanted Phil like that. It was more that Quentin was that guy. So can we be honest, that's not Phil's ex. Probably wasn't Phil's ex. It might have been a lie. It might have been someone he was, he might have been a friend who he used to bring forward. My thing is whether he's lying or not, that's an issue now we've got to talk about. You know what I mean? Right? That now we've got an issue we have to talk about. So in that reality, we now have to have a conversation about the fact that, does he like black women? Because he's the one that has a white ex. Now, I'm not saying if you date white, you can't date black. I'm just saying that, we now got to ask that real conversation, right? Now, I think also what's interesting for me is that I looked harder at now his comment at the very end when they were asking him about Aries and saying how much he's comfortable with Aries. And it was like, he's like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. And I was like, well, does he? I'm now asking that question because y'all put it in my head. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm asking the question, does he like black women? I don't think that's not the case, but I'm just saying, I don't know. It's weird. Now, of course, why would he not be touchy-feely? Of course he won't be touchy-feely because I don't know. I just looked at her and I looked at him and I said, I don't know. That wasn't giving me. Now, maybe she's changed over the years. I don't know. But I was looking at her and I looked at him and I said, I don't know. You know what I mean? All right. So I was like, I was looking at him. I looked at her and I said, I don't know. I was like, well, I can see why he wasn't touching. I don't think this really was I don't see the connection or the spark. You know what I'm saying? So I can see why listen, when a man doesn't fancy you, he ain't going to touch you. Okay, now I get it. Some of us men really do have a touch issue, but he wasn't touching you because there was no attraction. Yeah, man couldn't even touch her because maybe at the time, the girl was a placeholder at the time. I'm just running through what my thoughts were thinking at the time, right? I'm not saying it's right because I'm not gonna say I saw the behavior or I saw some things. I'm just telling you what I felt at the time, and then I'm gonna relate it back to behavior and say, actually, behavior wise, that's not how I see it. But in truth, just how I felt, the immediate feelings that were coming up, I was asking questions. I was looking out going, these two don't even look like they really were together. They don't look like they were making a mesh. I was like, I can see why he wasn't touching, because really I don't see that attraction between the two of them. And so I was just like, yeah, I feel it, I was like, he touching Aries because there's some level of physical or sexual attraction. Now, whether the question is whether he actually wants Aries in our conversation, but me personally, that's how I felt. I didn't feel like he was attracted to her. So that's a question for me personally, I would say, right? But then it was his comments at the end, which aside the ex situation, I was like, I don't think he really likes any of these women. Let's be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. His response was very lackluster, and I'm realizing that to be honest, he just playing. I won't even say playing a game, but he's just gone along with it. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, because that Tommy was asking more questions about it, but it's the way he was so nonchalant about it. I was like, I don't think that Phil really is in deep with Aries. Yes, he's kissing her. Yes, he's hugging her. Yes, he's putting his arms around her. But I just didn't feel like the brother was in deep with her like that. And we have to even talk about Quentin and Lee and the fact that why the frick are producers giving us Quentin and Lee on a date, but never gave us no videos of them on a date? Why the frick are we seeing them at the very end and not seeing no connections on our screen? Why? Right? But we'll talk about it in a second or two. I want to see if I can get a clip for you guys. I didn't write down my points, so hold on. Let's see if we can
appearance, and that's not just something that I like. Or as a potential mate conversation, I don't really get that from her ever.
Okay.
That's the wrong part. I want to see if I can get the part where he talks about his connection with I think this might be it.
She busy, but did you give up?
That's not it. Damn it. I thought I could find it. I can't find it. All right. So yeah, no, like I was like, I just don't feel like any people are really connecting this season. If I'm honest with you, I don't see anybody really connecting. But yeah, Phil definitely. Phil's situation with Aries, I just don't know how much he cares about her like that. You know what I mean? And it's almost as if like he wanted to leave it. He wanted to leave it open for Catherine. Like when they asked him, like he was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, how do you feel about Aries? I'm okay with that. He said, I'm more than okay with Aries. You know, she makes it hard, you know, to not want to choose her, right? But I don't feel like, you know, like when a man wants a woman, like there's that definitiveness, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that girl for me, yeah, listen, like I'm in deep, I'm feeling her. There were none of that from Phil. So I was like, even though they're kissing and everything, I don't see it. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah, I'm gonna keep one eye open with the Phil situation because that ex, yeah, that threw me all the way off. Can't lie to you. All right, cool. Let's talk a little bit then. Let me talk a little bit about the Quentin and Lee situation because that was interesting for me. Okay, Quentin and Lee. Let me just be real with you. Okay, Quentin and Lee. I can understand both perspectives of both Quentin and Lee on that date. Now you got Lee and you got Lee and then you got Janelle. Janelle is a far more stronger personality and ends up dwarfing a lot of the energy in the room when it comes to Lee. Lee, I don't see that kind of person. Lee is not somebody who's going to try and dominate the room. It's actually why I kind of like Lee. I mean, me personally, I'm the empathic energy of myself. I like to be around people that are sensitive to other people being involved in a conversation and not dwarfing it, right? So I can see how Lee could have felt some type of way in the moment with Janelle's energy. But number two, her real issue was with Quentin when he said that he ghosted her, but then told the ghosting aspect in front of Janelle. Now, I can get why she would have felt some type of way. She might have felt like he was cutting her a little bit and kind of almost maybe embarrassing her a little bit as well by releasing that information in front of Janelle. I can see how that could be how she could feel some type of way and how she can maybe begin to shrink. But I also understand where Quentin's coming from because I also see how the fact that, bro, at the end of the day, I was just being honest and I'm not really thinking about the competition. I'm more thinking about the fact that, hey, in reality, I'm having a truthful moment and I'm saying to you, look, you know, I ghosted you because that other day because I felt like it was too much energy, rah. Now, had he said that to her? I don't know. Had he told Lee this already? I'm not sure. If he hasn't told Lee already, then it is a blindsiding comment and it can make it can leave the person feeling a little bit exposed. And that would be a wrong move on Quentin's part, right? But I see where he's coming from in terms of like, just like, it's an honest moment. Like, you know what? I'm relating to the conversation. Yeah, I ghosted and I ghosted and etc. Right? Maybe an apology might have been better once he said it. Like, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't know if they discussed it already. I don't know if they discussed it behind the scenes and Lee's more embarrassed that he brought it up because again, it makes him look like a dickhead, right? If you bring it up and say like, oh, you ghosted me, then what value do I have that you ghosted me and you're bringing it up in front of the other woman? It's kind of embarrassing and shameful, and it makes the person feel like they're definitely number two. So I can understand where where Lee was coming from. My thing is, my thing is that with Lee is that she began to shrink, right? And she is overtly emotional. So she's very emotional. And I don't know how that's going to work with Quentin because he's emotional. And two emotional people, I don't know. I think two emotional people can be very difficult, right? you know, and too much people in a relationship, not emotionally intelligent, but emotional people, as in can be emotionally reactive. I think that can be very difficult to work long term in a relationship, and I think he sees that, and I think that's why he goes for a more sturdy Janelle. Now, I'm not saying that Janelle doesn't get emotionally reactive, but she projects off more strength. And I think Quentin has a thing for these strong types of women. He likes these women that are very dominant and very strong. And that's why he's going for these, he likes an older women situation. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know if that's something to do with history of a child and mum issues or anything like that. But something about Janelle's personality and energy of being assertive and a little bit more dominant is working for him. You get what I'm saying to you? But we're not seeing the connection with we're not seeing a connection with Lee like that. So I don't know. You know, I don't know that the connection with Lee doesn't work for me, and I don't know why the editors haven't shown us anything up until episode 6. Why have you shown us no dates between the two of them? This doesn't make any sense. You've had 6 episodes to squeeze in a date between Lee and Quentin and build up their story. That's my thing about this, the editing. Why are we talking about building stories and narratives when we're not having any story and narrative up into episode 6 about why somebody is now liking somebody? Why? Why are you waiting to episode 6 to ask the brother who he wants to go on, who he wants to bring to the X date? Surely you should have asked him along the way of the process, who are you feeling right now? Da-da-da. And that would have then allowed you to say, hey, we're going to set up a date between you and that person then. Since you're connected to that person, let's bring a date up. This doesn't even make it even suspenseful TV. Like, oh my God, I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't believe it. Lee's on a date with Quentin. I'm not gassed about it. So it's like, what are you doing it for? Like, why are you not bringing in somebody who can build storylines? At this moment, it's giving whoever's doing the storyline needs to get fired. At this point, it's given that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to come for anybody's job. I'm just trying to be keeping it real. I'm just saying at this point, it looks like it's a Beyonce and Michael Jackson moment. Someone getting fired. Because there's no storyline at all. So that means there's a poverty of continuity between the people that are who are gathering information from the actual castmates to the people who are doing the editing to those who are producers. So there's probably a lack of continuity between the stages, because I cannot see for the life of me where this storyline has come from. Now, we've been confused on previous season, like, where did that come from? Well, that wasn't sure. But the gap this season has been huge. Huge. It needs to be worked on. I'm sorry. Because if you know that you're going to call people in to do an after take, right? You can call them and say, hey, who are your connections? Okay, you got connected to this. Okay, you need to come in for your date. You need to come on your date. That's it. How hard is that? You know what I mean? That means people are not. Then that means a connection between the producers and the runners or whoever doing it. There's a lack of continuity. Okay, so Quentin and Lee, for me, yeah, it ain't working because I haven't seen anything. I don't know how they can. She's saying that he's a top. That's her top connection. I'm like, since when? Oh boy, just told me he ghosted you. It's crazy, yo. Crazy. We tired at this point. Okay. All right. We tired. All right. So yeah, Quentin and Lee, I don't get. I personally don't understand that point of view. Okay. Let's talk then. Maurier plus Janelle plus Jessica, and have a conversation. All right, cool. So okay, so the conversation between Maurier, Janelle, and Jessica It's interesting. I think the situation with Maurier, Janelle, and Jessica is so interesting because spirituality has been brought into it, right? But I'm just so confused because my faith is really important to me. Okay? I think my faith is really important to me, that if I'm going to date somebody, it's one of the first questions I'm asking. Now, unless Maurier was lying or hiding or omitting information, I don't know how we got this far and we didn't know about the faith situation. Yeah? I don't get it. So for me personally, I'm so confused how we get up to episode 6, we're meeting exes, and the ex pulls out a tarot card, and that's a part of your faith. So unless Maurier is lying about it or omitting information, right? I'm confused as to how now we're in a situation where we are now dating and we now getting shocked that you're into tarot reading. Now, if we're playing the game, it wouldn't be shock. You'd be like, well, look, you know what? That just doesn't work for me. My faith. But it looked like there was a bit of shock. Okay. And I was like, oh, okay. And so now we have to go back to the improv conversation with Keyra. Because in the improv conversation with Keyra, he was like a little bit quoting one or two scripture to kind of say the situation about faith. But he wasn't being all the way honest about his actual faith then. Because if you know someone said they're Christian, you're not a Christian. Right? If you're a Christian, you know that once I say we're a Christian, are you gonna say you're a Christian? You're gonna tell me if you say you're spiritual, I immediately know you're not one of us. So that would then end the conversation for me. How are we on episode 7, and we don't know this already? So that for me was confusing. So the ex situation coming out, and her talking about the sexual, about whether how that sexual connection, I think, or sexual appetite is important. And I think that was interesting because that conversation with the ex, and Jessica shut it down immediately, like, well, I don't feel comfortable talking about that. And I get why she might have shut it down. I think it would have been interesting to hear the response. It's probably a conversation for offline rather than online, but I understand why the question was asked. He's got a strong sexual appetite, wants to see what her appetite is. Again, I think that's a question that he could have asked himself. So I don't understand why. Again, that was something that was, I don't want to say this is a big deal, but I can understand why Jessica shut it down. Maybe not on camera, but if it had been off camera, would have been cool. But again, on episode 7, we're asking these kind of questions. So for me personally, I think this that he shot himself in the foot, right? Shot himself in the foot. Someone said that she could have answered in a classy way. She could have also done it in a classy way. Say, hey, look, I have a healthy appetite for sex. I like, I have a healthy appetite for sex. So, and that's something that me and him can discuss a bit more further in future. But yeah, I've got a healthy appetite. So yeah, I mean, that could have been done, but I understand why she said no. But it was Maurier who told his ex to ask the question. It was Maurier that encouraged her to ask the question about the sex part and to also ask about and about the what was the thing it was about? It wasn't the sex part, it was in the faith aspect too, right? So for me, I don't know. I feel like that situation, they had a pact. They wanted to keep Maurier in as long as possible. That's why that date went on. I think they knew personally, but because they had a pact, they got him as far as they could. It got to the place where we get, although we come to the end of the road. Still I can't let go. It's unnatural. You know what I mean? And we're at the end of the road, guys. That's how I see it. We're at the end of the road right now. And yeah, it was that's why I feel like it was the end of the road. They just did him a favor, and that date happened between Jessica and Janelle. Because honestly, faith is such a huge thing. I just can't see that not having a conversation. But yeah, you're definitely not going to bring up tarot reading to me. You're definitely not going to bring tarot reading to me. I can't do it. So get someone else to do it. So the fact that got brought up now, yeah, get someone else to do it. I'm not about it. I'm not about it at all. We ain't going to do all that. We ain't going to do all that. I'm sorry. Get someone else to do it. Okay? Get someone else to do it. Then we want to talk a little bit about, let me see. Chris and Jessica. So Chris and Jessica also had their situation as well. I think that was also eye-opening. Chris and Jessica. I'll say Chris. The reason why I think this Chris and Jessica is interesting because I see both sides again once more, right? Chris and Jessica is interesting because that ex was like, yo, let's let you know that he needs to be served. And I was like, oh. And Jessica was straight saying that, yeah, that can't be it. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna do me. Now, I'm not mad at either one of them. Because personally, I think both of them in a relationship is a power clash every single day. I've said this from the jump, right? I said this about Chris and Jessica. It's gonna be a clash every single day. And the reason why it's going to be every single day is because one, he wants to have the shining light too, and wants to be adored, cared for, loved, and appreciated. But Jessica is also a strong woman who's not looking just to be the number two for somebody. So this is going to be a clash all the way. And what you're going to find out if they decide to ever make it work is there's going to have to be compromise. But who's going to compromise? Because the other person's going to feel like the other person's taking advantage by compromising. Do you get me? So when I saw that, obviously, that the ex came out and was like, you're going to have to, I didn't really have anything else about me. I had to serve. I was like, ooh. I was like, wait. I was like, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. I was like, yeah, that ain't going to work. Not with Jessica. That ain't going to work. And so the fact that obviously the ex also noticed that Jessica's energy is quite hard and quite dominating is also intriguing, right? Because it takes up space. Now, I want to say from two places. I understand from Jessica's point of view, I'm just being me. I come into a place. That's me. I'm not trying to do anything else apart from just do me. And I think the other side also is that I do feel like Jessica can be a little bit strong with it. You know what I mean? I definitely believe that Jessica can be a little bit strong with it. And so, Chris wanted it a bit more soft. I'm like, yeah, I hear that. But your soft, now we've been proven, is that you've taken, I don't say taken advantage, but you've lacked maybe a little bit of consideration for the other party, and you want them to serve you in what you do. And that asking someone to be soft in that domain is like, no, what you're going to really ask him for, you're going to ask her to literally dim her light rather than actually be soft. But for another person, I can understand. But if you're thinking, that she is someone who may be too strong and come off a bit strong, she does come a little bit off strong. So that's okay. But I just think that both of you are not the ones. So that's my thing there. You know what I mean? So personally, I think I don't think that's ever going to work between Chris and Jessica. I think if we're all honest, that relationship has been, that relationship has been ready to be in a bin. Someone asked, can it be cultural? Absolutely. Okay, it could be cultural as well. It could be cultural in the sense of the Nigerian culture and wanting a woman to serve and be number two and follow your vision. It could be that is also a culture thing. I think also from Jessica's point of view, I think she's involved in business. She's a strong woman. She's always handling her business, and that can be very tough to turn off. But I think there's a story with Jessica. You know what I mean? I think there's a story with Jessica. So to be honest, until we get that story, I think the story will explain why I think she comes across as, I believe, very stern at points in times. We saw that last week. So she has that ability to. But I think there's something behind that. But yeah, this is two people that we shouldn't be together, to be honest. If I'm honest with you. Two people that I don't believe should be together. Honestly, yeah, no. Okay, cool. Let's see. That's what Kira's funky exit then. I think that's pretty much it. So I just feel like the episodes are now, for me, they're not there anymore. The content this season was poor. I can't even give you guys solo breakdowns. I'm like, there's nothing really much to say here. It's so poor. Because the way you're telling the story, so there isn't much to work on, you know what I mean? Okay, so Keyra and Funky exit. Look, I can understand why Kira's probably thinking to herself she's over the process. I think Keyra is somebody who she will vibe, have energy, she will do what she got to do. Shout out to Keyra in that respect. But the exit was funky. Okay, because Herbert was trying to tell you some things and say, hey, look, the reason why they're letting you go is one of the kids. Now, first thing I want to say is this. I agree with her when it comes to the kids thing. I don't get this. Why would it be a red flag if a woman decides and says, my preference is I wouldn't want to be the man that has kids? Why is that a red flag? Maybe that's your red flag, but it's not a red flag. And I felt that was a little bit harsh, and I felt like that was nonsense also, because I'm like looking at going, why would somebody who says their preference is not with kids be a red flag? Right? There are men who have preferences that don't necessarily want to have kids. So why is that a red flag? For me personally, I'm looking at it and I'm going, if that's what, Phil was one of the people that said it as well. He's like, oh, I think that's a red flag. And I was like, what? Like, so that for me was null and void. That was silly for me. I think the other aspects, that I think was interesting with Keyra in that exit is that when he brought up the black culture thing, and I really want to interview her and ask this question, because the black culture thing, she said she felt like it's offensive. And I was like, what is she talking about is offensive? Because if you said that you felt like black culture, you don't like being around too much black, whatever, right? Then you said that. Why would that be offense? Why are you feeling offended? The fact that you're being questioned on that when you question someone else on their preference. So I was like, again, this whole situation, you're not really seeing it from a different perspective. And that for me was a little bit unfortunate. And then the exit itself in hindsight, it was mutual. All right, cool. But then that little comment about, you can have my drink at the end. Now, it wasn't necessarily rude per se. It was just cheeky. It's like, it was just cheeky. It's like, and again, it might be the editing. The way she got up and just left. I was like, oh, so did they not hug or anything like that or shake or anything like that? I was like, did none of that happen with Keyra? Or was that editing again? Because it just looked like Olga got up, was like, yeah, great, fantastic. You know what I mean? Oh, womp, womp, womp. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, okay. 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 Okay, cool. So then, the way you're exiting, I was like, Keyra, this don't look good. You can have my drink. I was like, Keyra, this don't sound good, baby. it's giving. I was hurt by the people in the progress in the process, even though you weren't. Now I think she probably was more. She was more happy to leave. Of course, I think she realized she didn't need to be there because she had no connections. But it's still like if you know you have no connections, you know what's coming. Again, why are you getting stressed about the fact they're going to tell you to leave? Why are you getting stressed if they tell you you're not ready to love? Do you know what I mean? That for me personally is what I'm saying. So I was like, yeah, I get it, but yeah, I'm not buying that, Keyra. And um I felt like the way she exited didn't give maturity to me. It gave somebody throwing their toys out of a pram a little bit, right? So that was my personal thoughts anyway on that situation. I was just like, I'm not feeling that exit, to be honest. But listen, I don't want to say too much because I feel like this episode was poor. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the episodes this season have been absolutely poor this season. Poor. Like Ready to Love this season has been one of the worst seasons, I believe, in terms of flow, editing, storyline. It has been absolutely povertous. I feel like they've done an awful job in creating storyline. And I feel like, I don't know if Dallas is a new team or whatever, but it's awful. Okay, it's awful. RTL, if you're watching this, if you are part of the production and you watch my show, I need you to take it back to the team. It's awful. The storytelling is so jacked and finished. I don't know. I can't even give you great content on this show anymore. It's why I don't even do solo breakdowns, because a lot of the stuff is rubbish. What are you capturing? Right? Now, of course, it's been steadily getting bad last few seasons, but last season can't be compared to this season. Like, last season cannot be compared to this season. Last season had a little bit more structure. We could see things, a flow of things. Whether people had connections or not, at least we had some flow. This season, boring. It's what it is. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this season. I won't say too much. I'll try and give a breakdown, maybe some general breakdowns when I see the videos. When I go back and watch it again, I'll try and give a general breakdown a little bit more when I get some more detail. But yeah, I just yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Nah, DC can't even be compared to that. DC, at least they even at least give us some drama. Like at least DC gave us drama. Like with DC, we knew there weren't much connections, but like there was drama. You know what I mean? We had Sabrina, we had Zadia, we had Camille, we had Cornelius, we had Courtney, we had Phil. Like we had connections in DC. All right. Or maybe a bit like you mean like Potomac season. If Potomac, not Potomac, yeah, Potomac DC was a little bit difficult. But this season is arse. I was like, yo, it's bad. It's bad. So yeah. For me personally, it weren't it. I can't lie to you, it weren't it. This season's it's not been great, I'll be honest with you. So yeah, no. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I'm gonna leave it there. You know what I mean? I know someone said about the Phil situation. Look. Let me make it very clear again. It's not about her ethnic background. What I was saying about Philly, I said she could pass as white. You know what I mean? That's what I was saying. She could pass as white. So that's why I was questioning the situation with Phil. She could pass as white. Not that she maybe is white, but she could pass as one. You know what I mean? So anyway, listen, guys, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. I think I have to talk about Derek Jackson really quickly because there's some things that were coming up, and I'll address that quickly. But like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads, guys. See you soon. Look at that. I've exited at 45 minutes. That should tell you how bad this show is being right now. I've exited at 45 minutes. Do you know how nuts that is for me to talk about the show in 45 minutes? That's how bad it is, guys. Disappointed.